Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Look, I asked some of you guys last night during the NCAA stream. I said, what do you want to talk about tomorrow morning? Do you want to talk about this matchup with Texas A&M, or do you want to talk a little recruiting? You all said recruiting, so what do? I'm going to talk about Texas A&M because the more I thought about it, the more I started to get irritated. Look, this is a big game for both programs, right? A lot of pressure on Jimbo Fisher, the guy that always seems to do less with more. I don't care how well you recruit. If you don't get it done on the field, your fan base is going to start to question you. Jimbo Fisher's combined record at Texas A&M, 43-23, coming off of a 5-7 team. If they lose to Tennessee on Saturday, that's 4-3 on the year. You still got to play South Carolina. You got to go on the road and play Ole Miss. You got to wrap up things at LSU. You got Mississippi State on the schedule. Jimbo Fisher could be looking at a rough season, and the seat for Jimbo is getting hot. Flip over to Tennessee. We already know. You needed to win the front half of this schedule because the back half gets brutal. You drop this game to Texas A&M, and then you got to go on the road. You got to jump right back on the horse, go on the road against Alabama next week, a game that has been circled on the calendar, their revenge game. It's our version of the South Carolina game a couple of weeks ago. That's going to be a tough test, and then you follow that up on the road against Kentucky. You got Georgia coming to Neyland Stadium. You drop this game to Texas A&M on Saturday afternoon, you're going to have a rough stretch. If you want to get to 8-4, you're going to have your hands full to do that. But something that's bothering me, the national media, everybody in the news, it's all about Texas A&M. It's about Texas A&M's defensive line. It's about Texas A&M's playmakers. All the talk is about Texas A&M and not Tennessee. And I want to make some counterpoints to that. We're going to take a listen to J.D. Pickell. We're going to see who he picked in this football game coming up on Saturday night, 3:30 kickoff, Checker Neyland. The atmosphere is going to be electric. But as always, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, free, and easy. It does help this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. Hey, we're not media. We're not talking at you here. We're talking with you. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you enjoy it, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. We'll be live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Also, tell somebody, man. Tell a friend about the Talkin VAWLS Network, what we got going on here. We would greatly appreciate it. But let's jump into it. Let's take a listen to what J.D. Pickell had to say about the matchup coming up on Saturday afternoon in Neyland Stadium.
A big matchup for us. Joe Milton, quarterback for Tennessee, against this pass rush of Texas A&M. The pass rush that we're talking about for A&M, best in the country. Best in the country. Have a sack rate of, wait for it, 15%.
See, I'm tired of hearing that too. I'm tired of hearing about Texas A&M and their elite pass rush. They are the best in the country. They average 4.33 sacks per game. You know how many the Vols average per game? They average 4.4. It depends on how you want to spin this narrative. If you look at sacks per game, Tennessee has the best pass rushing attack in the country. You want to look at total sacks, then it's Texas A&M, but Texas A&M has also played a full extra game. So again, we're all talking about Texas A&M. We're not talking about this Tennessee defensive front and what they've done through the first half of the season. But go ahead, JD, tell me more. I love JD Pickell, no disrespect.
That means 15% of the snaps that Texas A&M is playing defensively, they're getting to the quarterback. Not just providing pressure, not just knocking him down, like they are sacking the quarterback 15% of the time. Had 7 sacks against Arkansas, had 6 sacks against Alabama. So yeah, they got some guys that can get after you a little bit. Now for Joe Milton, the task in this game, the mission is this game, diagnose like a doctor, deliver like a midwife. That's what it's got to be for Joe Milton. We got to see the pressure before it even happens. We got to see the alignment. We got to feel the pressure. And then we got to find the open spot right away.
Joe has to be good. Joe has to be good on Saturday afternoon in Neyland Stadium for Tennessee to have a shot. But I don't think that Joe Milton has to pick up this football team and put them on his back. I don't feel that he has to do that. I think he just needs to be efficient. He needs to not turn the football over like we saw, a couple of weeks ago against South Carolina. You cannot throw into coverage. You cannot turn the football over. That's what Joe Milton has to do. But again, the conversation, the talk, it's all about Texas A&M's defensive line. It's not about Tennessee's defensive line. It's about Texas A&M's defensive line. Well, let's look at the flip side of that. Let's look at who's going to be going to battle against that Texas A&M defensive line or Tennessee defensive line. Joe Milton's only been sacked 5 times. 5 times through the course of this season so far. If you flip over and look at Texas A&M, they've given up 11 sacks on the season. 11 sacks on the season. So again, we're talking about what Texas A&M does. Well, how does Tennessee counter that? How does Tennessee respond to that? In that clip right there, J.D. Piquel goes on to talk about how Texas A&M is going to try to put Joe Milton in third and long. You can't have these third and long situations. And again, it's all about what's Texas A&M do. They're putting the pressure on Joe Milton. Well, how do you respond to that? How does Tennessee respond to that? You respond to that by running the football. And again, what's the conversation? What's the talking point? Well, Texas A&M has the 8th best rushing defense in the country. They've only given up 4 rushing plays of 20 yards or more. They give up very little yardage on the ground, 84 yards per game, 8th best in the country. What's the counter to that? What's the response to that? How come we're talking about Texas A&M's rushing defense and not Tennessee's rushing attack? Lead the SEC in rushing yards per game at 231. Jalen Wright averaging 7.1 yards per carry. We got a 3-headed monster. Jabari Smalls having himself a pretty good year as well, 317 yards, averages 6 yards a carry. Dylan Sampson, 248, averages almost 7 yards per carry, has 6 touchdowns on the year. Why don't we talk about whether or not Texas A&M's rushing defense can stop our rushing attack? It's all about Texas A&M. That's all the conversation is. So I don't care how good their rushing defense is. How about our rushing attack? Can you stop it? Because I think that's going to be the key to this football game. And look, no disrespect, Texas A&M, their front seven's really good. It is really good. But I like our offense against their defense more than their offense against our defense. That's just where I'm at in this thing. Why is the talk about Texas A&M and not about Tennessee? J.D. Piquel kind of goes through his video. He talks about the playmakers, and it's all about Texas A&M and how Tennessee's going to have to be able to stop them. He gets down to the pick. He goes to make his pick. Let's take a listen to who he's rolling with on Saturday in Neyland Stadium.
Don't feel great about this pick. Could see this game going either way. Here's my concern. With Tennessee, I cannot flush the memory of what I saw Florida do to them up front.
Is this why our fan base is so kind of split and divided? Tennessee favored by 3.5. The ESPN FPI has Tennessee winning this football game. I think the Florida game and battered Vols syndrome is creating a problem. And again, J.D. Piquel there says, look what Florida did to them up front. Who wasn't in that game? If we're going to talk about what Florida did, you got to tell the full story. Cooper Mays did not play in that football game. Gerald Mincey did not play in that football game. And that's part of it. That's not me making an excuse for what Tennessee did against Florida. A loss is a loss. You got to take it and roll with it. But when we're talking about upcoming games, we got to look at the full story. Cooper Mays back. Got a game under his belt and a bye week to get healthy. Gerald Mincey's back. J.J. Crawford's healthy. Let's look at the full story.
I can't. I have issues with how I saw them respond to what Florida did in the front seven. I have issues with how I saw them tackle against Florida. The physicality that Florida brought and Tennessee didn't gives me concern. Now, we saw South Carolina in that game, and we saw them play much more physical, but I have this.
What was the difference? Played much more physical in the South Carolina game. Cooper Mays was back. Gerald Mincey was back. Let's call it what it is.
Sneaking suspicion that the A&M front seven is going to bring it and provide pressure on Joe Milton. And as well as Joe Milton has played to this point in the year, there's still been, I think, a little bit more to be desired. I haven't seen that consistency from him. Now, he could very well step out there and drop dimes like we saw Jalen Milroe do last week. And he could have a career day, and that wouldn't shock me. But it would be a little bit more new than what we've seen from him this season.
Talking about this last night during the NCAA stream. Joe Milton could go out and throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And guess what? We would roll into that Alabama game questioning which Joe Milton we're going to get. Because like J.D. Piquel said, he's so inconsistent, we just don't know which version we're getting. Are we going to get Orange Bowl Joe, or are we going to get what we've seen through the first half of this football season? We don't know.
I think the playmakers of A&M are dangerous in space. I think they have a little bit more under the hood than what they're being given credit for. I'm sure Neyland will be rocking. How they handle that will be a very, very big factor. But at the end of the day, this is a game one up front. And I think A&M defensively has more up front in this game, and they're going to force Joe Milton to be consistent and execute consistently in the intermediate pass game, in the deep pass game. There's going to be big plays to be had. But for me, I like A&M to win this football game 31-27.
There is the pick from J.D. Pickell. He's rolling with Texas A&M. Look, this is going to be a close one. This is going to be a dogfight. This is a tough game. This thing is going to, I think, kind of predict where this football team goes in 2023 under Josh Heupel. You go win this football game on Saturday, you're going to have an opportunity to do something special. But he mentioned Neyland Stadium there at the end. Josh Heupel is on a 12-game home winning streak. Neyland is going to be electric. Neyland is going to be rocking. We have not lost in Neyland Stadium since the Georgia game in November of 2021. Meanwhile, Texas A&M has not won a legitimate road game since Missouri in 2021. So we're riding a high. Can Texas A&M figure it out on the road? I like Tennessee's odds. That's just me. I'm feeling confident. But the national media, the story is all about Texas A&M. You guys jump into the comment section. Let me know how you feel. Are you feeling confident? Are you nervous? Are you anxious? Are you worried about Texas A&M's defense? What about the way Tennessee runs the football? I think that's the wild card. That's the ace up our sleeve that not a lot of people in the national media are talking enough about. But I want to hear from you in the comment section. As always, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the merch you already know where, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Also want to thank all the members of the channel. You guys are what pays the light bill around here, allows me to jump on here and create content every single day. I'm grateful for you. Because of you guys, I get to do Monday morning streams, Friday morning streams. I'm able to collaborate with Eric Kane and do the Locked On Talkin VAWLS crossovers. It's so much fun, and it's because of you guys. If you want to be a part of it, hit that join button down below for $1. For $1 a month, that's all we're asking. You can support this channel. You give a little bit more. You come on to fan call-in shows, all kinds of fun perks and benefits. But if not, that's cool. Smash the thumbs up because it's quick, free, and easy. Jump over here in the comments. Let's talk some Tennessee football because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.